Today on the Morning Edition, you weren't seeing things, Fairbanks. That was a fireball in the sky Tuesday morning. We spoke with the experts and share what they're saying about it. Plus, if you're planning on flying out of Anchorage anytime within the next few weeks, you'll want to be aware of the wait times for security at Ted Stevens. With the partial shutdown ongoing and TSA working without pay, we'll break down how the airport is being affected. And later, when you think of Alaska, very rarely, if ever, do you think of reptiles. Generally, it's sea life, moose, eagles, bears, those warm-blooded mammals. But that's not stopping a growing movement of exotic reptile owners here on the last frontier. We'll take a look at what it takes to raise a reptile in Alaska as the Morning Edition starts now. Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up with us today. You've always talked about owning an unusual animal.
A monkey.
You want a monkey?
I want a monkey. Or an owl.
I feel like I've heard you say something. Yeah.
I was just, cats are fun. Dogs are fun. No reptiles.
You wouldn't own a reptile?
No. I don't like snakes. I like lizards, but I just don't like reptiles in general.
Got it. All right, that's fair. Well, reptiles, they don't really like the cold weather. So.
Yeah, and we've got plenty of it across the state. We continue to see that deep freeze across Alaska. Those temperatures continue to bottom out below zero across a good portion of South Central. The coldest spot this morning out towards Willow, where we did bottom out right around 20 below. 3 degrees currently at Ted Stevens with winds out of the north at 14 miles per hour. That is giving us a wind chill of 15 below. And like we've seen the past few afternoons, we are going to continue to see some breezy conditions across South Central, more so towards those gap passes across South Central. So thinking out towards Seward, Whittier, as well as Valdez, where we're going to see some of those stronger winds. Temperatures this morning, 32 below in McGrath, 15 below in Nome, 2 below in Utqiagvik, still holding on to some of those colder conditions through parts of the Aleutians. The warmest spot that we are seeing this morning across the state is through southern parts of the Panhandle and then out towards Adak, which is centered right up under that ridge that's out over the western Aleutians as well as the Bering Sea. The rest of the state continues to hold on to bitter cold conditions. We are going to see temperatures warming back into the teens, if not some lower 20s for coastal areas as we head throughout the afternoon hours for South Central. Plenty of sunshine sticks around in the forecast. And again, like we did see yesterday, those winds will once again increase. We're already seeing 50-mile-per-hour winds out towards Seward and 20-mile-per-hour winds out towards Portage. The rest of South Central, winds have kind of subsided, but will pick right back up later today, where we'll see most locations with winds of about 20 to 30 or 35 miles per hour. That is giving us wind chills readings this morning that are approaching about 20 to 25 below as you head through Palmer. And of course, out towards Soldotna, it feels like 20 below this morning as well. Now, coming up on my full forecast, yes, the cold weather is still with us, but we will see those snow showers moving into western Alaska, while snow showers out towards southeast lighten up with that bitter cold still in place across the state. I'll have more on that in that 7-day forecast coming up.
A man found dead after a reported burglary in Mountain View Monday, and police are investigating it as a homicide. Officers were called around 6:45 Monday evening to a home on the 300 block of North Flower Street. Police say they found a man inside with an upper body injury. He was taken to a hospital where he later died. Detectives interviewed several witnesses, but so far no charges have been filed. APD's crime scene team processed the home, and the case remains under investigation. It's a trial that ended in a deadlock last year, now starting over. The case centers on a 2019 crash in Alaska that killed 2 teen girls when a pickup went off a cliff. As the case returns to court in Anchorage, the families say they're seeking closure. Johnson Kuhn reports.
We are on record, State of Alaska versus Ruckman.
24-year-old Dustin Ruckman was absent in court Tuesday for a pretrial conference. Starting later this week, he's expected to face a new jury trial on 2 counts of criminally negligent homicide. Prosecutors say Ruckman was behind the wheel in May of 2019 when his pickup left a road on Unalaska's Mount Ballyhoo and fell an estimated 900 feet down a cliff. Inside the truck were 16-year-old Carly McDonald and 18-year-old Kiara Renteria Haste, both killed in the crash. Ruckman, a teenager at the time, told authorities he was thrown from the truck as it plunged down the mountain. Ruckman's defense has argued he may be civilly responsible as the driver, but not criminally negligent under Alaska law.
We just want closure, and we would like accountability.
For the families, that mistrial meant starting over in a case now entering its 7th year. Carly's mother, Alyssa McDonald, who's spent the years since the crash honoring her daughter through a scholarship fund.
So we're here again hoping for closure, accountability, and our children, no matter what happens, our children, this won't bring them back.
Families say they came back to court hoping this trial brings what the first one did not.
And when you lose a child, you try to find yourself, because not only do you lose the child, you lose your identity of who you used to be.
Kiara's father, Derek Haste, says learning more about the evidence has only made him more determined to see this new trial through.
After we know what really happened and, the facts of the case, it changed the whole dynamic of everything. And I'm looking forward to this trial even more than the first one.
Ruckman was initially indicted in 2020 on multiple counts, including manslaughter and reckless driving. In 2024, the case was narrowed to the 2 criminally negligent homicide charges he now faces. Johnson Kuhn, Alaska's news source.
Jury selection takes place today. We'll have updates as the trial moves ahead. No one spoke on behalf of the defense. Alaska's Attorney General is suing 6 crowdfunding and donation platforms, including GoFundMe and PayPal, alleging they created fundraising pages for charities without the charity's permission. The state says the sites pulled public data to build pages for more than 1 million nonprofits, including thousands in Alaska, and then asked people to donate. AG Stephen Cox said that can mislead donors and cut into donations through fees. The state is asking a judge to order those pages removed and to impose civil penalties. In Alaska, we're used to seeing the northern lights dancing in the night, but something very different lit up the skies over Fairbanks recently. Many in Fairbanks saw it and wondered what they were looking at. And now scientists have that answer. Danny Tompkins brings us this update.
If you were driving to work or glancing out your window Tuesday morning, you may have seen it. And if you did, you weren't imagining things.
It was like a little blip and then a streak and then a really big flash like the size of the moon.
Roy Alabran has been recording the night sky for years. His camera points north, looking for auroras.
I've got 5 or 6 security cameras that are outside my house, and I have them angled up.
But Tuesday morning, they caught something else.
I just saw the vapor trail after effect. So I was thinking, it looks kind of strange. It looks a little bit like it could be a jet.
Across town, Brian Colliard was driving to work when something to his left caught his attention.
There was literally what I would say hundreds to 1,000 different light trails that came off this thing. It was absolutely phenomenal.
What Brian saw from his car and what Roy's camera captured, scientists say is a meteor large enough to be called a fireball. And according to the people who study them, Fairbanks got a rare one.
I've seen shooting stars, meteor showers before. I've never seen something that big and bright.
Aaron Sloniker watches the sky for a living.
And so meteor is a piece of rock that's moving through the Earth's atmosphere. And we call it a fireball when it gets really bright and kind of fiery like that.
In other words, what lit up Fairbanks was the real deal. Though Roy didn't see it in real time, his video tells the story.
Well, I'm excited to share something like that. So I hope they get some excitement out of it to get outdoors and look for themselves.
Danny Tompkins, Alaska's news source.
And there may be more to this story. A NASA satellite was expected to re-enter near Alaska within a 24-hour window. It's possible the fireball was that re-entry or maybe a separate event. We've reached out to NASA for confirmation. The Polaris building may be gone, but the argument over that space is just getting started. Downtown Fairbanks is now debating how to redevelop the lot, currently an ice rink with ideas like housing or retail. The mayor says they're taking 60 days to hear from stakeholders first, with a request for proposal she hopes to launch by May 1st. TSA lines across the country are growing longer at major airports, with some places seeing lines as long as 4 or more hours stretching outside of the building. However, the impact, as Georgina Fernandez tells us, has been limited in Anchorage.
It's quiet right now as people get ready to board their afternoon flights. But across the lower 48, CNN reports passengers encountering long wait times at security as the partial government shutdown continues, impacting Homeland Security, resulting in TSA agents going without pay. Here's what travelers tell us they've been experiencing.
Well, I have lately been to several airports, domestic, Anchorage, Texas, Florida, Montana, and then one international to Cancun, Mexico. And I've had absolutely no problems going through TSA, no long lines, and a real easy trip through at every airport.
Alaska is very much easier to do with the TSA lines. I had a really, really long wait in Orlando, and I think part of it was my fault because I went to the wrong line, but that, you know, you can only do so much. But Alaska is a piece of cake.
Well, when we left Grand Rapids in Michigan, the line was not that bad, and we were about an hour early, so it wasn't bad at all. And then we came through, and now we're going to be heading out, and hopefully it won't be bad from Alaska either.
And while things are quiet here, be prepared for additional wait times if you're flying out of other airports.
And if you're looking to catch a flight right now, travelers tell me their advice to people is to give yourself some extra wiggle time when it comes to security. Georgianne Fernandez, Alaska's news source.
Still ahead today on the Morning Edition, Iditarod mushers and their teams of dogs continue across the Alaskan wilderness. We'll bring you the latest highlights and stories from the trail.
And we are watching some light snow showers, which will build in across western parts of the state throughout the day and into our Thursday. I'll have more on that cold weather pattern. But first, at sunrise, 8:28 in Anchorage, 7:24 in Juneau. Your full forecast is next.
Welcome back in. 15 minutes past the hour on this Wednesday morning. Aaron, it has been a cold week.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we're not going to see any warm weather anytime soon. And if you're a fan of those warmer conditions, you might as well head out towards ADAC, southern parts of the Panhandle, or into the lower 48, because we are going to continue to hold on to this bitter cold weather for at least the next 2 weeks across a good portion of the state. Now, gap winds remain with South Central. We did see a new record low in Fairbanks yesterday when we bottomed out at 41 below. And of course, we still have that ridge that remains out west as you head across western parts of the Aleutians and into the Bering Sea, and that's where that ridge is setting up. Now, winds for the most part this morning not entirely gusty across a good portion of the state. You can see out towards Unalaska, we've got winds up to 30 miles per hour. Now, locally across South Central, we have seen some winds up to 50 miles per hour out towards Seward. But one thing we are going to be watching throughout the day is a system that's going to be pushing out of Russia, and it's going to ride around the periphery of that ridge and build into western parts of the state. We're already beginning to see the leading edge of that cloud coverage exiting out of Russia this morning. Now, out towards the Gulf of Alaska, we've got a trio of lows that will continue to keep at least some light snow showers around, but even then, we're seeing those snow showers beginning to taper off. But there is that ridge, and that system, again, is going to drive right into western and southwest Alaska, leading to some increasing snow showers, more so towards the late afternoon and into the evening hours. This morning, you'll wake up with some sunshine in the forecast, and those clouds will increase. You can see by early afternoon out towards Gamble, St. Lawrence, some light snow showers to be expected, and then that spreads to the southwest, and then eventually out towards the Alaska Peninsula and through parts of the eastern Aleutians as we head into your Thursday morning. So these light snow showers will continue to persist as we head through the rest of this week. And you can see most of that will largely impact areas of the Aleutians out towards St. Paul and parts of the Pribilofs. Meanwhile, across the rest of the state, quiet conditions and cold weather is expected to remain with us for the foreseeable future. In fact, when it comes to that snowfall activity as we close out this week, notice from south central north into the interior where we're going to stay fairly dry for the foreseeable future. But out west, we could see a couple of inches of that snow accumulation. We're also expected to see a couple more inches of snowfall out towards southeast. I'll have that for you coming up in the next forecast. But we are going to see some increasing snow for areas of western Alaska. Those highs today As a result, will briefly warm, 16 in Nome, 5 in Bethel, and 14 degrees in Dillingham. As you head through the western interior and the rest of the state, that's where we're going to see some of those colder conditions. Even here in Anchorage, those temperatures will top out in the lower teens. You can see plenty of sunshine sticking around in the forecast for the foreseeable future. We're going to continue to stay on the dry side. Now, while temperatures are on the cold side, we do see slight warming. We're going to climb about 5 to 8 degrees into the weekend as we top out in the lower 20s, which is still about 10 to 15 degrees below average for this time of year. Leading up to St. Patrick's Day, we'll see a high topping out at 18 with partly cloudy skies.
Teams continue trotting down the Iditarod Trail, conquering hundreds of miles so far, with hundreds still to go as the first musher made it to McGrath, and so has Charlie Fellows, who gives us a report from the checkpoint.
High above the banks of the Kuskokwim River, the city of McGrath anxiously awaited for the 2026 Iditarod's early leader to arrive. No, I mean that literally. That's what the building is called. Although the crowd that gathered outside when that leader did finally arrive wasn't too bad either. Jesse Holmes, the defending Iditarod champion, was the first of the 35 remaining mushers to make it to McGrath, arriving just past 8 p.m. on Tuesday evening and leaving just 8 minutes later. Holmes explained his mind is still firmly set on what lies ahead.
I'm looking forward to getting to Cotton, getting these dogs well taken care of, getting ready for the next stages of the race. I expect it to continue to be tough, so need to get well rested there and get the dogs and myself refueled for the journey. Good G. Good G. There you go. That's it.
And as he alluded to there, Holmes' next stop is the Takotna checkpoint down the river, where he plans on using his full 24-hour rest day to refuel as he prepares to tackle the remaining 2/3 of the race. Charlie Fellows, Alaska's news source.
And as Jesse Holmes was the first into McGrath, he received the Alaska Air Transit Spirit of Iditarod Award.
The Spirit of Iditarod Award, Alaska Air Transit, as well, made by Loretta Malel, as well as a hat.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much.
Now, just in case you didn't know, the award is a special prize traditionally presented to the first musher to reach McGrath. The prize package contains handmade beaver mitts and a handmade beaver hat. The award celebrates the Alaskan indigenous culture and the crucial role of bush pilots in supplying remote communities at the same time. This is the second year in a row Jesse Holmes has won the award. Day 3 of Iditarod came to a close with some changes in the standings and in the field, as Tuesday featured the race's first scratch. Rookie musher Jay Fouché scratching in Finger Lake Tuesday morning due to personal reasons, with her and her 15 dogs in good health, according to the Iditarod. Back in 2022, Fouché, originally from New Hampshire, was on a training for her first attempt at the Iditarod when her sled dog team was struck by a vehicle on the park's highway. She withdrew from that race and regathered her mind and kennel and was ready to run again this year, carrying the ashes of one of the fallen dogs in the crash. Fouché told Alaska's news source at the Rover Restart on Sunday.
It really is, yeah. It took me 4 years to really get over the PTSD and feel like I could face, Alaska and the Iditarod again, so.
Her comeback run sadly cut short, Iditarod adding that she made the decision not to continue further down the trail after traveling through an extended windstorm. And taking a look at the current leaderboard, keeping in mind that there is plenty of race in both time and trail left ahead. Our current leader is Riley Deitch, with Jesse Holmes and Paige Drobny rounding out the top 3.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting. Available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.